your mic stand all wobbly? Damn. And we're live. And now we're visible. Sean, how's your week been going?
It's good. How's
Good.
your week been going? Kelly's back home as of what, like
1 a.m.
1 a.m.
Yeah, she's back. Yeah, I didn't really just like, she comes home at 1 o'clock in the morning and the dogs bark, wakes me up. Then I was awake for 2 hours, half awake. So I watched Iron Man 3.
What a weird choice.
I was, so a thing that I do is I watch YouTube videos about movies.
Sure.
Probably more than I watch movies themselves. Everybody's got a thing, right?
Yeah.
Like you go down YouTube wormholes of like making coffee and stuff.
I've been on a jiu-jitsu wormhole lately.
Yeah, you've been. Do you want to ask anyone that's watching or listening if they'd like to go to a jiu-jitsu class?
Yeah, if anyone wants to go to a jiu-jitsu class with me, North Broadway does a free trial class.
Ooh. I can smell it. Like just thinking about it, I can just smell it. I can smell what that free class smells like.
Dirty geese and bleach.
Just BO and sweat.
Nothing against North Broadway. It's just that's a grappling gym. That's just the
just
the smell.
The activity in general. So I go down these wormholes where I watch like guys that break down why movies are good or bad, or
I'm just thinking of Steven Seagal.
Yeah, I went on a run of a guy that breaks down Steven Seagal movies, which I think is hilarious. Because he does this voice too. He's like,
yeah.
He's like, Marked for Death is the movie where Steven Seagal showed the world. And then he just proceeds to just tear the movie apart.
Yeah, him and Steven are not friends.
I don't think anybody's friends with Steven anymore. He had like a brief... I mean, are you aware of the whole Steven Seagal thing? Like, he was at one time considered to be a pretty legitimate action star.
Yeah.
And then he was brought on as like an honorary member of some police department in...
Okay, I know this.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
And he's been hired by like the Russian government or somebody somewhere to like teach them combat techniques and self-defense things and all this stuff. And he's been like a total fraud, apparently. Like he doesn't actually know anything. And there's these videos of him grappling. I think he did Aikido, which is the one where like people come running at you and you like grab their thumb and twist it and they like fly through the air. I think he was doing some Aikido and that's not real.
And then someone just punched him and they realized,
it's like they worship him so much because he's been in these action films that they just like go along with it. Like, you ever seen those videos of like, like fake evangelists or whatever, where they like throw their arms out at a crowd and people just fall over in droves because they're just blasted with the Holy Spirit.
Mm-hmm.
That's like what these Steven Seagal movie, these like
followers.
Grappling. Yeah, they're just like people running at him, and he's just like, he just barely moves because he's so fat and out of shape that he just like reaches his arm out and he's just like twist, and this guy like goes hurtling through the air. And you're like, the guys getting thrown are displaying so much more athleticism. But this guy that breaks down his movies, he's like points out places like how little Seagal moves. Like he literally just doesn't move. They'll like splice. It'll be like him walking down a hallway and they have to like do jump cuts the whole way because he's the guy, the narrator is suggesting that he was getting so winded walking down the hallway. They had to cut it together. And then it'll be like, he'll kind of like hop over a fence, like a 30-inch fence or something. And they'll cut to a stunt double hopping over a fence. I mean, it's so funny. And then there's these videos of him like taking out 30 Russian, government security guys on this they're all wearing gis and people are just being hurtled through space. It's an overweight Seagal. Anyway,
you either live long enough to see yourself become the villain or you die a hero.
I mean, the funny part is like he was at one time kind of held in the same regard as like Jean-Claude Van Damme, which like when you
Arnold, and,
not even in the same.
No.
And also one of the stories is that one of his first films, like Marked for Death or something, he ran a lot in it, and apparently somebody told him never to run on film. He looked so stupid. I can't even explain it. He just looked so dumb running that they were like, don't do that again. He also is widely acknowledged to be the worst SNL guest ever. You can also look up videos of SNL cast members recapping him being on the show. Bad. So
today's podcast brought to you by Steven Seagal.
Yeah. I was gonna say brought to us by Sean Coffee, but neither of us is drinking Sean Coffee, so
no. The coffee maker was dirty, and
so long story long, I had been watching these two Australian guys that review comic books and movies and stuff, and just talk about them, and I was watching them talk about the Iron Man trilogy, and like good and bad parts about it. So they'll do like a 20-minute breakdown, and it's like I feel like I watched the whole movie, so I don't need to go watch an hour and a half or 2-hour movie. Just like watch two Australian guys talk about it.
Was this one of those cases?
So I watched earlier in the day. I'd watched their breakdown of Iron Man 1 and Iron Man 2, and then I was like, "Ooh, I don't want to watch the breakdown of Iron Man 3. I want to watch Iron Man 3."
I'm really glad I asked that follow-up question.
So I had started watching Iron Man 3 earlier in the night and fell asleep, and then Kelly woke me up in the middle of the night, and I couldn't fall back asleep, so I
decided to
restarted Iron Man 3 halfway through. Iron Man 1 still holds up really well. It's a good film, I think.
I agree.
So the two Australian guys were recapping like whether or not that movie would ever get made today, because Disney now owns the rights to all the Marvel movies, and Robert Downey Jr. at the time was kind of a questionable hire. Like he was a guy that didn't really
coke binges
didn't really have his life together, and kind of was getting a second shot at it, and obviously like knocked it out of the park. But it's like, man, if Disney was in charge, would they have even given him the chance?
Jeff Bridges in that movie?
Yeah.
Iron Man 1?
Yeah,
like he's his only non-Big Lebowski role ever. I feel like every role that Jeff Bridges is in, he is some iteration of the dude, because that's just him as a person.
There's a new show that just came out recently. I think it was on Hulu, where he plays like a retired CIA badass guy. That I wish I could remember the name of it, but pretty sure it was on Hulu, and it was pretty decent. I watched it.
I just remember him in Tron, like the remake of Tron.
Yeah.
And he's just the Big Lebowski, but in a video game.
Oh yeah,
I love it.
I mean, I think as a lot of actors do, it's like you get to the point where you've made it so far into your career that you're just like, look, this is the thing that I do.
Well, I also like that's just him. Like he's just being himself.
Yeah, but don't you think they reach a point where they're like, you know what? I'm not even going to try to recreate somebody else.
Yeah.
Because this is what I do.
Especially with such like an iconic role.
Although
like John Goodman definitely got out of his role there. Like he was Walter in The Big Lebowski. And he's done a lot of.
Well, and Steve Buscemi went on to do Boardwalk Empire.
Yeah.
Which is very different. But I like Samuel L. Jackson, I feel like, is at that point where he's just like, look, if you're going to hire me to do a role, I'm showing up and I'm going to be Samuel L. Jackson, and that's what you're going to get.
Yeah. I don't know. He didn't really play himself for, what was that Quentin Tarantino movie? Django?
Didn't he?
I don't think so.
Oh, and Django. Yeah. I'm thinking of Hateful Eight.
Yeah, I didn't see that one.
He was very Samuel L. in Hateful Eight. Yeah, so anyway, welcome to the Gambit Stratagem podcast. I talked about trying to do more intros. I've noticed that's what a lot of podcasts do, is they talk about just totally unrelated topics just to kind of like warm things up. to kind of intro the podcast. So I'm Andrew Essig. We're 10 minutes in. It's good. And this is Sean Crocker.
That's me.
Our names are in the correct place, of course.
Love that.
And at some point, there's a Gambit logo right above my head if you're watching this on video. At some point, we are going to rearrange our chairs and get this crap out of the shot in the front. Just a pile of just extra audio equipment.
That's a flare.
That's a little flare. Yeah, at some point, we'll try to get that
I think
out
we
of
need
the
to cut
shot,
a hole in the table and just have Joel poking his head up. But like not consistently, like every once in a while he just
like a train layout table.
Yeah.
But maybe I don't know if normal people can relate to that if your father doesn't have a
I was thinking like a whack-a-mole situation.
Oh, yeah. So I'm thinking that my dad has a giant train layout in his like man cave room. I'm talking like the size of this room. And you have to put, it's so big you have to put trap doors in it so you can crawl underneath and lower the trap door out and you can get up in there, and it could be like Joel, he just pops a trap door out of the table and pops. Hey, heard you guys were talking about coffee. Hey, heard you guys were talking about bicep veins. I
was going to say, he's not going to come in for coffee. That boy was on Folger's Life.
Hey,
I gave him a bag of coffee and he asked me how he ground it up.
Heard you guys were talking about free sweatpants. What?
I was shocked. I was like, Joel, you get a grinder. He said, oh, I think Christine has one. His response was exactly, but she's mad at me, so I'm not going to ask her right now. I said, okay.
Sounds right.
Okay.
Communication is key to relationships. Our topic today. Did you ever pull up that Google Doc I sent you? Mm-hmm. There's nothing on it, but I just thought it'd be nice for us to have a Google Doc to refer to. We could like send each other secret messages during the podcast too. Like, I thought it'd be good. We're going to talk about a couple of things. Sean's going to pick one topic if we have time. We'll see what we're doing on time, but we might pick one topic off of the 49 fitness tips list we went through. But I thought it'd be cool to touch on real quick. We are kind of running out of time. I realized too late, in the end of the month, but I wanted to put it to our audience / members. What type of gym challenge? I really want to keep the ball rolling on a monthly challenge, and so we're kind of in dry January or sober. I'm going to call it dry January because I haven't been doing a sober January per se.
I have,
but I've been doing a dry January.
Yeah.
And I think that's okay. It looks different for everybody.
Yeah.
Not like I've been having an edible every night or anything, or even every week, but I just haven't necessarily blocked that out.
Yeah.
But I'm doing a dry Jan, and I signed up for a Scotch club, mostly with Rob's dad. Mostly,
gotta get to know the neighbors.
Yep. Who is my neighbor? Mostly for the social aspect of it, but I'm scared of it because I'm like, hey, I'm not like I've never been a Scotch drinker.
Yeah, it just tastes like moss.
Have you had Scotch?
Yeah. Not a fan.
You're not a fan? Yeah, I don't.
As a whiskey fan, I'm not a fan.
But and I'm kind of like a whiskey bourbon fan.
Yeah.
But so I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'll try it out. But they're gonna buy like, everybody chips in, then he buys like $200 bottles of Scotch. Yeah. So I'm like, maybe it'll be good. He already told me one of the bottles is a very peaty bottle. I'm like,
that's what I don't like.
The company will be good. But I
think enough vegetables. I don't need it in my liquor.
Are you into wine?
Not as much as my better half, but because she is a wine connoisseur, it's seeped into my
sommelier.
Yeah. No, she's not classically trained, as she'll be apt to point out.
Yeah.
But definitely don't tell everyone that her family owns
a wine enthusiast.
That her family owns St. James Winery. She doesn't want anyone to know.
Definitely don't announce that on the. I'll post the link in the description. She does listen to your podcast and update shows though, and like my significant other.
She's like 3 episodes behind. She won't hear this for another month.
And I'll have forgotten about it. It'll be a nice surprise for you when she watches and gets upset about it.
When she comes home and won't say hi to me.
Yeah. Well, I asked because I thought, man, I could totally be into a quarterly wine club.
Yeah.
Even though I'm not much of a wine connoisseur, I just kind of know what I like.
Dabble,
yeah, dabble and drink what I like. But you could, I mean, I think this Scotch club is like $50 a quarter, and he's doing like two multi-$100 bottles. So I'm like, we could do $15 a quarter,
yeah,
and get like a $75 bottle, of wine, and just try it. Yeah. So I'm thinking about doing that if you're interested, or if anyone's listening, Mara, if you're listening or watching. So we're doing dry January currently. December we did squat hold, which we had, and I apologize I don't have graphics ready for this because it would look a lot cooler, but we did 150 minutes for the month, right? Was our gold standard, which
I don't have the exact
which
figures.
is 5 minutes a day. Then I think it was 90 minutes, which is 3 minutes a day, and then 60, which is 2 minutes a day.
Yeah.
And I think Austin, the winner, was the only person to reach the gold standard. I was 1 minute.
You were 1 minute off?
I don't even think I realized I was only 1 minute off. I was just trying to catch Austin.
That'll chap your ass, won't it?
Yeah, he ended up beating me by 7 minutes or something. So I don't think. I mean, I literally did. We entered times on a like 7-day or like a weekly basis, and I was pretty much way behind. And I tried to catch him not only in the final segment, but like in the final day. Like I think I did 15 to 20 minutes on the last day.
That's crazy.
Trying to well, I came out strong. Like on the first day of the challenge, I came out swinging, and I did like 20 plus minutes on the first maybe it was the first interval, but I remember in one day I had done close to 20 minutes total. So I did that again towards the end, and I still couldn't catch him. And then he pointed out, like, he commented like, just 1 minute shy of gold just to make a point. Like, no, I wasn't even aware. I just was really counting on you falling off the horse really hard. And then I can't remember. I think Mike Capizzi was third.
I do not remember.
But
we did talk about it on.
We talked about it. So go back and watch the no.
We'll post a link.
Don't go back and watch any old update shows. Never watch old update shows. So yeah, I thought I'd talk about like how much time did you accumulate in a squat hold?
Couldn't tell you. Didn't keep track.
I bet if you like started though, didn't you?
Yeah, like I held squat. I just didn't. No, I didn't log.
Oh, I thought I saw you on the list.
I might have logged 0 minutes.
Kelly logged, I think, the first one.
Yeah,
and then stopped.
Yeah, I
think she was having trouble.
I'll go through mine like if it comes up in like my GoWad, which it almost always does in like a 3-minute capacity.
Yeah.
I just didn't keep track of it because.
Well, and if you had actually counted and then counted all the time, like every time you squatted, if you counted like
one squat or
1 second or 2 seconds for every squat you did, you probably would have racked up a decent amount of time. You're a man who squats a lot.
Yeah.
But I guess
legs looked like they squatted a lot.
Yeah, tell me about it. I guess you aren't going to have as much to contribute then, because I was curious what you thought the effects. Like I don't feel like we did a recap on it. It would be cool we should add Austin on the show.
Yeah.
To talk about like what he got out of that. So I can talk about what I didn't.
Yeah, so I definitely didn't hold any more or less than I typically do. Right, like I would say like I do GoWad daily. Usually there's a 3-minute squat hold in there. So
what do you feel like you've gotten out of the squat holds with GoWad?
Honestly, most of it is I do it kind of first thing in the morning, and it just helps open up my hips and ankles. I mean, like, fortunately for me, holding a squat in a deep position isn't an issue.
Yeah. Has it ever been?
Not really. I remember that actually how I learned how to squat was I did if you remember the original MWAD YouTube, like before Kelly Starrett had a book and an
it was
app
just called Mobility WAD. It wasn't even called MWAD.
Yeah. So the very first video he posted was basically a challenge to hold a 10-minute squat.
Yeah,
And I remember
yeah.
doing it and just getting annihilated 45 seconds in.
Mm-hmm.
And then just kind of did that every day until I was able to hold the 10 minutes. And then from then, I've never really had much of an issue.
I remember this. It's been so long. I remember that if I recall correctly, when he made that statement about the 10-minute squat hold, I remember relaying that to one of my PT clients who I was coaching in her home because I didn't have a gym. Before I opened Gambit. That's how long ago it's been.
Yeah.
I remember having her do a squat hold and saying like, oh, this guy, this mobility guru guy came out and said, you should be able to do this for 10 minutes. And we were both just marveling at how ridiculous that seemed.
Yeah.
She was in her 50s
Yeah.
or 60s maybe. So it was a tall order for myself.
Sure.
Let alone for her.
Yeah, that's even an inactive squat. That's not kind of what we were doing through that month. Like that was just a hunker down and sit.
Yeah, so I feel like for somebody with kind of tight hips and ankles, like you said, first thing in the morning, like if I'm walking the dogs or something, I'm just kind of waiting for them, or I take them to the park and they're just kind of running around, I'll just pop into a squat hold.
Yeah.
And yeah, a lot of times I will try to elevate my heels a little bit or do it on a little bit of a slope because it makes it a little bit easier. Just like wearing weightlifting shoes. And obviously the goal is ultimately to do that flat footed, but I've got one ankle that's been a bit junky for me that I'm doing. It kind of just like doesn't want to bend all the way. So that little bit of slope helps me a ton and still get a lot of the benefit out of it.
I also think it's one of the best like low back stretches.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a good, if you only did one thing for your body in a day, like mobility wise or strength wise, I think a good squat hold for 1+ minutes is not a bad place to start. Like if you work at a desk or something and you're like, I don't want to work out, or it's just a day where like it's a travel day. Like Kelly and I have done these long trips where you're on a plane for 8 hours or something and it's like we're just not doing anything, but in the airport or whatever, or when you get to your hotel, like rack up a squat hold in 30-second bursts or whatever. Super valuable, I think. Yeah. Just because it kind of stretches and relaxes and strengthens and everything kind of all at once, and you can work on your breathing while you're down there. You can do other stuff while you're doing it. You can be on your phone. You can watch TV, have a conversation, whatever. Man,
I like
it became
to pet the dogs.
Pet the dogs. You can get down on the dog's level, get some bonding time.
Yeah. Depending on the size and the intelligence of your dog, it's not always the best idea, but
you might be at eye level or some other level you don't want to be at, depending on the height of your dog. But yeah, my squat felt like I went from really struggling to get into my first squat of the day to being just able to pop down into a squat at any time and demo a really good squat and not really having to warm up as much. So I've found a huge benefit in it. And it's kind of like my goal for the challenges is to build tools in your arsenal. So like, and I hope for the people that participate in that, I hope you kind of like realized that was a valuable piece or a valuable tool in your training arsenal and like kind of an easy thing to do where you can squeeze in wherever it fits. And something just to remember, like for me now I'm kind of like my hips and ankles and everything are starting to like tighten up a little bit again. So I'm thinking, I should start doing squat holds again, sprinkle those in. Cause that was really easy and kind of beneficial and kind of a brainless activity, to hold. So I'm trying to brainstorm. I thought it'd be fun to talk about and brainstorm what other challenges we should do.
Handstand holds.
Love it.
Plank holds.
Can everyone do a handstand hold though?
No, but you can scale
to a dumbbell hold.
I was gonna say like top of push-up plank.
Yeah, I mean, don't you think a double dumbbell hold is more?
Yeah, but how many people have dumbbells at home?
That's fair.
Wall walk hold, like partial.
Yeah, that'd be good. If you have a wall, I think you'd have to have a list of scaling, like a hierarchy.
Alternatives,
yeah, hierarchy. But yeah, a pike.
A dead hang would be great, but not everyone has something to hang from.
Yeah, that'd be a good one to program. I mean, I don't think you necessarily have to be able to do it at home with no equipment, because I was thinking rowing meters or calories would be cool to like accumulate
Yeah.
row meters or calories throughout the month. And that was my concept too, is like it's
Concept
a different also.
Do you have the sound effect and it's
No.
That's not it.
There it is. I mean, they're just labeled A, B, C, D. How are you going to remember what's what there? I forgot to do the intro song though.
Oh, that's true. We just did it.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Gambit Stratagem podcast.
We did it, guys. I hate how the applause just cuts out. Can't it fade? And if I hold it, does it just keep going endlessly? Or does it kind of fade out on its own? I think it's just a loop. It just keeps going.
Yeah. Then all of a sudden everyone just stops.
Yeah, as applause does. Often when I'm at places where people are applauding, they just all cut off at the same time. Yeah. Somebody stands up in the front and goes, cut. Yeah, so I was thinking like some months it would be like it'd be a challenge to have to go somewhere or to spend more time at the gym or to not spend time at the gym or to whatever.
Yeah.
Eat or not eat a thing.
800 grams of vegetables.
Yeah. I feel like that number goes up every time you say that.
No, it's just 800.
I swear last time you said 500.
No, 500 we were talking about that's our part of our nutrition challenge coming up. My goal soon
That's a
is
good
8.
one. I don't think we need an additional challenge during the nutrition challenge. But
No. But 8's always been my standard. That's what I tell everyone.
Yeah, I was just making a side note. Like, by the way, during the month of nutrition challenge, it's just that's the challenge. But I love a dead hang hold. I love the handstand hold because we got 12 months in a year, and presumably the gym's going to stay open for multiple more years.
Presumably.
I don't like to take anything for granted, but I presume the gym will continue to operate and stay open. So if we want to do it monthly, like truly monthly, and if you want the same people to participate, it's got to have some variety. It's got to have some variance.
I think calories on varying implements that fluctuate is great. Could be running distance as we get into the warmer months. Could be any of the standard isometric holds, planks, handstands, dead hangs. I think the 800 grams of fruits and vegetables is a good one.
Yeah, I do think that'd be good.
People have told me that I'm employed by Big Veggie. It's not true. I'm going to dispel the myths now.
Big vegetable.
I get a small cut of broccoli farmers, but that's it.
Are you secretly employed by the eggplant emoji? I also think like a gymnastic movement for reps, like a pull-up or a push-up. Like just do an obnoxious amount of push-ups.
Based off of some strict pull-ups I saw yesterday, I would agree. Dan.
Ow. Savage. I think he owned up to it in the comments.
He did.
I saw several people owning up to it,
Yeah.
and I want to be like, maybe that's the hard part about some of those. Like, you can just rest. Like, you don't have to keep. And this is one of the things I've noticed new people don't realize always either. Like during a workout, like if we're doing ring rows, it's kind of like, oh man, I had to break up this set of 20 ring rows. I'm gonna step back and make it easier. It's like, no, you just rest.
Yeah.
A little bit until that's the challenge.
I'll say like personal training clients, I have to put them on like an EMOM or an every 2 minutes or every 3 minute timer, or like very explicitly detail the rest.
Yeah.
Because like I'll have them like they'll do like a pretty damn near maximal back squat 5, and then like rack it and like look around and just like get under the bar. I'm like, no, step back.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing here?
What is it? ATP CTP recovery is 50% in 60 seconds. Probably misquoting. Sorry, I'm not a scientist. But it's like 2.5 to 3 minutes is like the sweet spot of kind of the it's diminishing returns after that. You're like 85 or 90% recovered at 3 minutes, and after that it's like another minute gets you 91% or something. So pardon me. But yeah, let us know in the comments. Did you pick one topic of fitness? We got a couple more, got a little more
Yeah, I just figured we kind
a
of
few
work
more
our way
minutes here.
backwards through Chris Bochers.
Backwards. So
Sure.
what was 49?
So we ended 49 with some of the best workouts are done with simple body weight.
Well, it kind of fits into what I was just talking about, the challenges.
With the challenges.
With the challenges.
I don't know. I thought maybe we'd talk about our favorite body weight workouts.
Ooh. Yeah. But yeah, so I love, just before we do that. Sorry, I got this Nespresso is making me a little phlegmy. Those monthly challenges, I back in the day when I first got into CrossFit, I loved just like doing an obnoxious amount of stuff.
As everyone does.
Yeah, because it was like
volume monsters.
Yeah, I'm really into pull-ups. Let's do just a dumb amount of pull-ups. So I kind of like, yeah, let's accumulate. And you could set a target. Like, again, I love the gold, silver, bronze standard. So it's kind of like, the gold standard would be 30 strict pull-ups a day or something. Whatever, fill in the blank. Because like 30 doesn't seem like a ton for people that are good at strict pull-ups, but because that's, 6 sets of 5, it's not that
3
crazy.
by 10,
Yeah. But if you're doing it every day for a month, it's going to start to catch up with you a little bit.
900?
Sure.
No, I'm embarrassed.
You probably have a calculator on your
One
computer.
of my general rules is never do math in public. And I just try to do math in a very public forum. I was right, though. 900.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I'm very open about the fact that I'm only good at barbell math, not actual math.
I'm not even good at that.
I go straight to the calculator. Yeah, what is your favorite body weight workout?
Favorite body weight workout?
Like, are we saying CrossFit benchmark workouts or any workout?
I'd say any. I'm probably going to stick with benchmark because it's the most appropriate.
Because they have names and they're fun to talk about.
Yeah. I'm going to say Cindy.
Cindy's such a great fitness test.
I'm going to say strict Cindy.
Mm.
Mostly just because my shoulder hates skipping and I don't really want to do it anymore. So
yeah,
I'm going to get damn good at strict pull-ups.
Yeah,
I like Cindy because
there's
3 different iterations. You got Murph, which is kind of a Cindy iteration, obviously different, but
yeah.
And then you have Barbara? Is it Imam 30?
No, I think Barbara's the one that's like 10, 20, 30, 50.
Okay.
For 5 rounds or something.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Chelsea.
Is that it?
There is like one that's the Imam. I think it's Chelsea.
So like there's different ways you can do it.
Yeah. For sure.
Yes, it is Chelsea.
What?
Yeah, it's Chelsea.
Yeah.
So well, no, I saw like someone put something stupid on here. It's called half Chelsea. It doesn't matter. The internet's a weird place. But again, you got pull-ups, you got push-ups, you got air squats. You're hitting everything.
Which I always like to, as an aside, when you say you're not gonna kip anymore, you've got some shoulder stuff going on, and you're gonna not kip for a while.
Yeah,
you're not
unrelated to
not
kipping.
Kip ever.
Unrelated to kipping.
Yeah. So you're going to avoid kipping for a while. And I think that's an important distinction. Sorry to get off topic, but for anybody listening, it's like, yeah, absolutely. That's what we talk about this all the time with scaling and stuff. It's like, oh, you've got something. I just told my master's class this morning. I was like, there's 2 things that I just off the top of my head, there's 2 valuable lessons I've learned as I've gotten into the later half of my 30s. And one is that there's always going to be something wrong with something's always going to hurt or something's always going to be wrong with your body. It doesn't matter who you are, what type of fitness you're doing, or whether you're doing fitness or not, because I literally have had people look me dead in the eye that don't go to our gym, by the way, but look me dead in the eye and say, oh yeah, I don't CrossFit anymore. Like it was beating me up too bad. Like it just was hurting my body too much. You know what I mean? No, man, I don't know what you mean. Like I don't think you were doing it right.
I mean, you're either going to hurt from fitness or you're going to hurt from lack of fitness.
Yeah, and I'm like, dude, I think what you were hurting from was lifting super heavy all the time.
Yeah.
That's not CrossFit.
No.
explicitly.
Yeah.
So I'm like, whether you do nothing, like we work with people that do nothing and they have back problems and knee problems and stuff. And then it's like, but we work with people that work out all the time and they're like the picture of health. And, you know, they've got stuff going on, like CrossFit Games athletes, they've all got stuff going on, but they take care of it and they adjust their training intelligently. You've got a shoulder thing going on, so you're going to avoid kipping for a while. Very smart. It doesn't mean you're going to quit the gym or start walking around saying, hey guys, I don't agree with kipping anymore. And I'm not going to coach kipping anymore to anyone because I can't do it. So no one else should be doing it.
So you're telling me I can't do that?
Yes, I am. Yeah. Because it's happened before and it pissed me off.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with kipping, but again, like my shoulder does not support it currently because of snatching heavy multiple times a week for months on end. That's
sorry, what were we talking about?
Favorite bodyweight workouts.
Yeah.
Chelsea.
Sorry, I get off on
Cindy.
I just feel like that's an important distinction to make. Cindy's also one of my favorites. You know what one of my favorites is? 4 rounds for time of a 400-meter run and 50 air squats. You know what my other favorite is? Death by pull-up. Speaking of kipping pull-ups. I freaking love kipping pull-ups. And I'm also, just to hang on that, we could talk about kipping all day, I think. But, like, I just heard a member the other day talking about they got torn up shoulders or something. And I'm like, I've seen you kip on a bar. You don't have the strength. You shouldn't be kipping because you don't have the strength to support it. Like, you're good at kipping, but you can see your shoulders and arms just snap straight every time you don't have control over the movement.
Yeah.
And that's super important. Like, I've never had shoulder problems from kipping.
No, I haven't either.
But I've also never let my strict capacity dwindle.
Yeah.
I can just,
I mean, I say that all the time. Like every time we're warming or briefing or progressing on pull-ups in class, it's, hey, everyone jump up and do a strict pull-up. If you don't have that, like you are not going further with our kipping progression. Whether people listen or not, it's a different story. But like, I think like that's the important thing. Is like,
we can only coach you.
We're not saying that to be mean. Like we're saying that because we know what the other side of that looks like if you start kipping before you have strict capacity.
Well, and that's that conversation about like, oh, CrossFit beats my body up. Like, no, CrossFit doesn't beat your body up. You beat your body up.
Yeah, and I always thought like if you can do one strict pull-up, like the max you should be doing is 3 kipping pull-ups. Like I always look at it a 1 to 3. Like that shows me your strength and stability capacity. And I forget who I got that. I think I got that from one of your favorite people, the Active Life guy, Sean Pastuche.
We don't need to get into that.
But like I think
he's being sarcastic.
I think that's very valuable. Like that's a good way to look at it. It gives you like a hard number because I mean we know people that do maybe have 1 or 2 strict pull-ups on like a great day, but will rip through 50 kipping pull-ups. Not unbroken, mind you, but you know they're maybe doing 10, 12.
And then when you start developing some shoulder or elbow issues, don't wonder why.
Yeah,
we're telling you. So yeah, I also like Murph a lot. Honestly, anything. I
was trying to not choose Murph because it's just such an obvious one.
Yeah. Oh, see, I thought Cindy was an obvious one.
It is. That's the second obvious one.
It's great. It is great.
I would go with Mary, but I hate.
You know what else I love is 30 muscle ups for time.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Like honestly, just love bodyweight workouts. Like if I had to pick any part of CrossFit that I really connect with and love, it's the bodyweight stuff. I love push-ups. I love dips. I don't love handstand push-ups. I like them as a movement. I'm not.
I like
great at them.
strict handstand push-ups, and this isn't a kipping, another kipping discussion. I just, having had a lot of concussions in my life, I have a really hard time with repeatedly concussing yourself for faster repetitions.
But again, I will say that is a movement that a lot of people don't express, or demonstrate control through the full range of motion.
Sure.
And they are just pounding their head. And don't get me wrong, like if I do an open workout or a competition and I'm aggressively pounding through handstand push-ups, I'm not necessarily controlling the descent of that movement correctly. And I do need to go get my neck adjusted later. But just like the kipping pull-up, it is a movement that you can very much control and conserve your neck and your head.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't.
A lot of people don't, especially when you put a clock on it and you're trying to race your buddy.
Yep. And
which again is not a fault of the movement; it's a fault of the person performing.
And you don't have the capacity to do 10 plus strict handstand push-ups, but you're going to attempt a workout that contains 45 kipping handstand push-ups. Like, it doesn't really add up. But yeah, I do like the movement. Like the pistol squat, I can't do them, but I like them. It's another great example. This has become more of a scaling discussion than a gymnastic discussion, but like I do pistols. I tell people all the time, and no one ever wants to do it because it's the most like, it's like admitting defeat for people. But I'm like, squat to a box, pistol squat to a box, or a med ball. Like, give yourself, because it'll be like, oh, my back's so sore, my knees are sore, because you're forcing yourself into a crappy position because you quote unquote can do a pistol as prescribed, but you're in a crap position.
You're
like
jamming your knee forward
you're rounding your back out excessively. Like, do it on a box, do it right. And I just had this conversation. I might have had this conversation with you the other day, but like, I can do pistols in a competition. I can grab my foot, throw a pair of lifters on potentially, or just like squat into my toes a little bit. But I can do RX pistol squats. But I will feel worse if I do pistol squats to a box, even they're at parallel or below parallel, they're extremely difficult. First of all, they're harder than regular pistols. But my knees and hips and back feel totally fine the next day, if not great, because I didn't jam myself through a crap position.
Yeah.
But nobody wants to do box pistol squats during workouts. It's not sexy. All right.
I mean, that's just general gymnastics movements, so.
Not sexy?
No. Scaling them. The ways that they should be scaled
Scaling
are
them is not sexy. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I mean, like, one of the things
but everybody loves hooking a band up to do pull-ups for some reason.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know why.
When I first when the gymnastics course first got brought back into CrossFit HQ, they started releasing like some gymnastics programming. And it's something that I pay for every month because I love seeing kind of how like actual gymnastics coaches scale and apply certain methodologies. And, we've talked about kind of bringing in a gymnastics class in some capacity. And that stuff's
and how I've had very mixed results in the past.
Yeah. And same, like I've coached gymnastics progression classes before.
I put a lot of that stuff into the competitors programming when I was writing it back in the day and saw really good results. We were doing barbell, or not barbell, pull-up bar, like pullovers and whatever the other direction is. Yeah. Whatever. And really like got some good results. We were doing kipping exercises where you'd fold up like a towel or a hip circle to squeeze between your heels just to work on your kip strength. And I got a lot better from that. And but I tried to implement that into a cycle, it's not sexy or glamorous.
God,
like people
it is
just
not sexy at all.
People just didn't take to it because there was
hard as hell. And it is like, and
it's really, there's not a lot to hold on to. Like everybody wants to count the pounds on the bar or the number of reps.
So I follow a couple like higher level gymnastics coaches that have kind of branched into the CrossFit functional fitness space because that's where the money is. Like, same way as like weightlifting coaches have done that.
Yep.
And I find a lot of value, and I think it's sexy, like looking at a really, really, really good ring support hold with a strong hollowed position, your palms turned out to the side. But I imagine like your average CrossFitter, like looking at that, I'm like, why am I watching some guy just hold at the top of the rings? Like, I want to see someone snatch 300 pounds.
Yeah. So it does apply to everything, because I think Ben Bergeron's made a post one time about it. I'm sure many other people have talked about it, but what sticks in my head is he was training Katrin to try to win the games a second time or third time or whatever it was, and she was doing a bunch of like sled put, just like grunt work, and he was like, it's not the sexy stuff that everybody wants. I think oddly enough he was showing her do sled pushes, and I'm like, people freaking love sled pushes, first of all, so that's not a good example. But the stuff that gets you to the top of the podium is not the sexy stuff. It's not the max clean and jerk or whatever. It's all the accessory work and the other lifts that got you to that max clean and jerk. That was kind of just you turning your homework in. It wasn't all the studying. Nobody wants to do the studying. Everybody wants to turn their homework in.
Yeah. I mean, that's
So
applicable to the weightlifting cycle as we're kind of going into our taper and our peak.
yeah, and shout out Sean for a great weightlifting cycle as Joel just clean and jerked 330.
Yeah.
And Alex jerked 300 for 3.
Well, he wasn't in my weightlifting cycle, but
Oh, never mind. Take that back. No congrats to you, Alex. Uncongratulations.
Yeah, I mean, we had our last like true heavy day. What is today? Friday. So Wednesday and Monday was our last heavy snatch day. Wednesday was our last heavy clean and jerk day. I think we hit 5 people PR'd Wednesday, and I think 3 people PR'd Monday. And that's not even a max out day.
You know what I'd love to do is live stream the weightlifting session. I'll get my headphones and my microphone. Here comes Joel stepping up to the bar. Let us know in the comments if you'd like a live stream of the...
Or the best way to get a live stream is just come and cheer people on.
Yeah, get it.
Friday, February 10th.
Talk about an IRL stream.
5:20 p.m.
Get it in real life stream. All right. We'll wrap it up because Sean's got an appointment to keep that I think he's already late for. Yeah. Apologies for Sean's client. But yeah, let us know in the comments wherever you're viewing this what you want to see in upcoming Gambit challenges. And tune in next time. I've been Andrew Essig.
Sean Crocker.
This has been Sean Crocker. And this has been the Gambit Stratagem Podcast.